Hello viewers, today I will discuss the complete guide to psychometric test. So in the psychometric test, first of all I'll discuss about the introduction to psychometric test. What is psychometric test? A psychometric test is also known as the aptitude test. It is a common part of many modern day interviews and assessments. Psychometric tests take many forms and are an umbrella term for any assessment that tests one's cognitive ability or personality is being judged. They are now more commonly administered online and will consist of a series of questions whereby you must submit your answers within the time limit. If you haven't yet encountered a psychometric test, then you will very likely to do so in future, as they are becoming increasingly utilized as an early stage of an assessment application. Recruiting companies like to use them as means of filtering out large number of applicant pools to a much slimmer manageable pool. As a result, many applicants may struggle to ever get past this stage even. So in this particular video we will discuss about the psychometric test. So question comes, what is psychometric test and how do they work? A psychometric test is an objective way to measure the potential ability of candidates to perform well in a job role. Psychometric tests measure a range of skills from cognitive abilities, knowledge to assessing your personality. They are an extremely popular tool in business recruitment if you are applying for a job, especially for a graduate schemes. You may have to take some form of psychometric test as a preliminary round of application process. Why are psychometric tests used in the recruitment? Traditionally, recruitment studied your CV and qualifications and made a decision based on an interview. Extensive research has shown that actually this is a fairly poor way to pick which candidate are going to be best for the job. What's a better way now? You guessed it right, a psychometric test. In fact, many employers use a combination of interviews, assessments, and the psychometric test. Next question, why do employers use psychometric test? There is a strong correlation between test scores and job performances. If you score highly in a psychometric test, the chances are that you are going to perform very well in the job. As an employer, this predictively quality makes psychometric test more very attractive. Add the fact that they can be administered quickly and efficiently on a large scale, and you can see why psychometric tests have become the norm, especially for the graduate recruitment. Let us dive deep and see some of the key benefits of the psychometric test for recruitment. First is the objectivity. Hiring purely based on the interview and looking over your CV can lead to decisions being made on instinct. Psychometric testing removes this subjective decision-making nature and offers fairness free of discrimination and bias, as well as candidate take one standardized test. Second one is accuracy. Psychometric testing can allow a hiring company to assess candidates' abilities to analyze information, problem solve, make informed judgments whilst also analyzing their behavior tendencies. Access to this data on all applicants allow the hiring company to make quick, scientifically backed comparisons of the candidates to find the most suitable one. Next advantage is speed. Even smaller firms receive hundreds of thousands of applications for open positions, and the time that it would take to fairly look all the applicants is far too large. Psychometric testing allows the companies to drastically reduce the size of the applicant pools down to whatever the size is manageable for the organization. What are the main type of the psychometric test? Let me tell you viewers, there are main type of the psychometric test which are there like numerical reasoning, verbal reasoning, inductive reasoning, diagrammatic reasoning, deductive reasoning, logical reasoning, critical thinking, situational judgment, mechanical reasoning. Numerical reasoning and verbal reasoning are the two most popular tests used to assess a candidate's ability. If you are applying to graduate scheme or know that the application process for the desired job will include psychometric test, it is very likely that it will include one or both of these. Numerical reasoning. In case of numerical reasoning test, the most popular psychometric test outside of the personality profiling, and so it is important that you are adept to handling this sort of test. Numerical reasoning are used to measure the candidate ability to interpret numerical data. You must be able to analyze and draw conclusions from the data which could be presented in the table and graphs. Many candidates may fear a numerical reasoning test, believing that math involved will be too complex. The tests aren't designed to test the limit of the candidate's mathematical ability, but more to test your ability to use simple mathematical data to solve the problems. Next comes the verbal reasoning. A verbal reasoning test is to assess a candidate's ability to comprehend a passage of the text. You will most likely be presented with a written passage and asked to answer a series of questions with either true, false, or can't say on the basis of the information given. You must only use the information what is written in the passage and not use any pre-existing knowledge you may have on the topic, as they are not testing this. They are testing your ability to understand the text. Now, what to expect from the psychometric test? Psychometric tests are usually timed and in a multiple choice format. The time constants will vary from test to test, and it may be that on certain tests you will not be expected to finish all the questions, as they were designed to be extremely difficult. So don't panic too much if the time is running out and you haven't reached the last few questions. Try to focus on both speed and accuracy. It's unlike that the test will be negatively marked. So it may be best to guess an answer for the questions you are finding too difficult so you can move on. If you have a disability that could affect your test performance, you should mention it to the employer beforehand. We have some information on taking the psychometric test. Now, what kind of questions are asked in the psychometric test? Psychometric test contain questions that are commonly numerical, verbal, and logical. The name of psychometric test will tell you what sort of question you will face. What are hard? How hard are the psychometric tests? The level of difficulty of psychometric test will vary based on the position you are applying for. Test for management role will be having more difficulty than the lower rank jobs or entry level roles. The difficulty of a test is very subjective. Some may find it very hard, others may find it easy. When psychometric tests are used correctly, the candidate that pass would be those that are most likely to be successful at the job they are applying for. This means that how hard you find the psychometric test will be linked on how hard you find the day-to-day task for the job. Psychometric test can seem very difficult to the people when they have not taken it before. A lot of struggles are there due to uniformity of the format and the questions. Once someone has practiced psychometric test a lot and is comfortable with the patterns and the processes involved, they will find them much easier. Practice is the key. We may have test packages by which you can try this. What type of specific companies they are doing this, what type of test they are getting it. The test you likely to face will depend upon the role and company you are applying for. However, there are core skills that most employers like to test, which are verbal, numerical, and the behavior. So therefore it is very important that you take care of all these features. Now, one more thing that is I want to discuss with that. What are the tips? How to prepare for the psychometric test? Tip number 1, study your invitation. Don't drop anything. Just do not come to the conclusion. First of all, you should seriously see your invitation. Study the invitation, take a note what type of test they want to assess you. Once you know about the test, then you need to navigate the appropriate section of the text, cite such as let it is numerical or what type of the things. If your psychometric test is online, you will be given deadline by which you must complete a test, typically within a week or so. So time management is very much important to take the test. Tip number 2, find the psychometric test publisher. You should know what type of company you are applying for and also the recruitment agency for which you are working with. That will really help you to design the psychometric test to a specialist test publisher. Next tip, practice, practice, and practice. You need to take more and more practice. Practicing aptitude test will help you become familiar with the types of question asked and will reduce your anxiety. Next tip is plan your test online session. You should plan your test online and you should see that there is no disturbance. So with this, thank you very much for being with me on the psychometric test analysis. Thank you very much.